Hi, everybody. I hope your Easter Sunday was full of love and blessings. It was a very quiet day for me. We had a big meal on Friday. We had some steak, but today actually we had a pork roast and I made some roasted rosemary potatoes, which my boys like. So, and then of course your little veggies on the side. But anyway, I had kind of pre-done all of that so that I could just spend my own time. I'm just at that point where I try to make everything easy so that I can just get to the business of creating and centering myself. But I had said in a previous video, I wanted to share with you something that I do. Um, Actually, quite often, more often that not as much any lately, but I have. If I get to a point where I'm feeling stuck creatively, which isn't very often, honestly, I have so many ideas and I write them down all the time. Um, but when that happens, and I like to just doodle too. So if you're in a place where, I've kind of coined I make these little packets up, and I've got this copyright trademark name called 20-Minute Muse, and it's about being creative for 20 minutes a day. Oh, good. Finally got that focus there. 20 minutes a day. If you can just take 20 minutes a day and do something creative, whether it's doodling, whether it's writing poetry, painting a quick picture if you've got I've got like a little tiny travel kit and I've got travel brushes, that sort of thing. I'm always keeping something with me where I can tap into the creative side because we live in a world that really pushes us to the left side all the time, and it cuts off the right side. So I believe that we really need to be doing exercises to do that connection between the left and the right side of the brain. When we do that, it opens and builds new neural networks between the two, and we become more whole brained. Right? And when we become more whole brained, we become fantastic human beings. Okay, so one of the things, and this might be something that you're already familiar with, but I kind of decided to do something a little bit bigger last week or a couple weeks ago when the social distancing was first recommended that we stay together. There's a well-known artist in our area. She doesn't live here anymore, but she was a teacher, retired teacher, art teacher, but quite a renowned artist in her own right. And I think now that she travels around doing golden demos and paint, she still does her paint things. However, her name is Ariel Lyons, and she put out like a little, little thing that you can do and then paint, and then asked us to all come up with it. And I thought, oh, that's a exercise I do a lot, and it's something that is a creativity builder, and it's actually talked about by many creatives to do. And that is to scribble lines, just make some, you could do straight, zigzag, scribble lines, whatever. And I started to do that and I was going to post on her page, but I didn't paint mine. I went to the pen. And I like working with pen and ink as well. And my 20-Minute Muse kind of had all these little square packets in it. I made these really fun little felted pouches, multicolored, and then you could stick your little cards in those. Your little cards, and then the pen went with it. You could hang it, put it in your purse, whatever. Anyway, I did a bunch of them up for myself and some friends, and I made up some mixed media um, accordion little booklets, and then inside I wrote words of self love. When you're having a day where you're not feeling so great, be your own kind of beautiful, these sorts of things. So that's a lot of fun, but that's time consuming and it takes time to do. And then of course, but when you don't have that, I have been doing these for quite some time, and I can't for the life of me remember who the YouTuber was when I saw this a good handful or years or more. And I saw this little exercise that she was doing with inks and on paper, just to kind of get you going with a flow, right? And I'm not kidding you. Once you get started with these, they're almost addictive, and it really is a lot of fun. And so I make up little cards about this size. This is watercolor paper or mixed media paper. I also have these little black cards. I got these quite some time ago at Michael's. They were on a clearance, and it's like a little deck of cards, right? But what I do on these is I make them into little gift card labels or something. I write also haiku, which is short, the 575, which is something I really like too. I'll write a haiku on here and then do an art design on the back. And that art design is just doing lines, and I'm going to show you. So what I did is I went down to the studio. Oh, I love going there. I haven't been there very much lately. I've been pretty much, doing the social distancing and trying to stay home. But obviously my studio is private, but I just wasn't able to film down there. I have outdated software. I have an older computer down there, so I have to do my filming here. Anyway, I know most of you are probably going to get on with it already. But, and it's with lines, right? So it's about drawing and using different lines. You just start out and you just make lines. And this probably looks complicated, but it really truly isn't. And I'm going to show you how you can do something this fun. Now I've even taken it a step further and I've colored them, right? This one here, though, this was done with the watercolor pencils, which I really like. I have a little packet of watercolor pencils that I travel around with or keep at home. And this one here, this has been a while. I was going to spray that actually too, but I don't need to because that's ink. And this is done with the Derwent ink pencils, Inktense pencils. And they're water soluble until they dry. They're permanent. Okay? I'll wait until this, see if this focuses in. But, and there's some more that I've done. And with thicker pens and pencils, and I'm going to show you some of the things that I use. I actually even did it with pencil crayon. I've done little black ones. They don't stand out as much, but I've colored them in so they do. And also the golds, right? I've done the golds, and I've done silver. The silver, and I've done the white. Silver and white pretty much look a lot alike, but you can see the difference that the white is much more vibrant. And then, of course, this was another gold. This is done with a paint pen, I think. Yeah. So these are my little sample cards I keep aside so that when I share this during my classes and stuff, then I always make little samples of things and keep them to the side so you always know. And then I make little notes on the back, and if you ever want to go back to it, because I'm famous for doing something. I come up with a great idea and I do it, and then I go back and go, oh, what was it I used again? But so this way, making little sample cards and things like that, you put it aside and you've always got them on the ready. So I did scoop up some of the pens and that I did these with. And I just looked on the back, so I scooped them all up. Now, I want to tell you, the Uniball gel pens are phenomenal. Like, you get what you pay for. This is the silver, the Uniball silver. This one is, okay, so this one was the multi-surface. This was a paint marker. They're great. It's great. But of course, you always have to pump it to keep the paint flowing. And sometimes it gets blobby. At least with this gold gel, this is the Uniball Gold gel pen. At least with those, the flow is always going to be there. And I'll show you. I got them on the side here. So see here, you've got the Uniball. Yeah, you probably can't see the name, but this is the Uniball. You can see right there. And the Uniball white gel pen. And there is a Uniball silver. So, of course, I get lots of these because I go through these more. But these here are really nice to use every now and again. And like I said, I make them into gift tags. and then I'll write a poem or something on the back, and or just put love you, love Aunt Pat or love Mom or whatever. Um, they're lots of fun. Like seriously, they don't take that long. They take less than 20 minutes to do. Now, are there other gold pens and markers out there? So of course I thought, well, because I think these were running around $4 a piece, and I thought maybe there's something else out there. So I ordered these. These are called Le Grip, and they were from China. They worked for 5 minutes. That's it. You can see that there's still a lot of ink left in these. I have tried everything. I put them in hot water to get them to reanimate. Just really ticked off. And I think I probably paid $3 a piece for these, which I'm very, very disappointed. They are Le Grip from China. Do not buy them. Save your money and invest in the Uniball. White, gold, and silver. It's just a better product. So, you get what you pay for, right? Sometimes you can get a good deal, but then, it depends on your manufacturer. So those are the gel pens that I use. I love them. They're so much fun. This was that paint marker. You can get them by the box of 3. You can get the silver and the gold, and it's Artistro. I don't know if you can see that. And it's a paint marker pen. So this is really good because you can write on anything with this, and I've used it on stones, glass and all of that. So that's pretty good. Some of the other things that I use, let's see what I got here. I use a lot of different weights. So this one here, that's a 0.3. What's this one here? This one here is a 0.5. That's just watercolor paper, but it looks like it might be the 0.5 pen, and of course that's pencil crayon. This one here is a brush. It's an ink-loaded brush, and this is by, I think it's Pentel. Nope, this is, it's a Japanese or Chinese one, but I do know that I purchased this at Michael's, and it comes already preloaded, and it's really got a nice little brush on the end, like almost like a calligraphy brush. And you can, when you do, you can go thick or you can go thin, right? It's really nice. Nice even flow. And you just have to give it a squeeze if it's gotten a little dry. A lot of times I'll just put the dib in a little bit of water, but like I said, you got a really nice fine point, or you got this sort of thing going on. I really like playing with this. It's so much fun. Now I actually will also use India ink. This is my take-home bottle. I have the Speedball, and I have another brand that I got from Curry's, which was half the price of Speedball, and it is fantastic as far as quality. Really good dark permanent. So you kind of want to be with a permanent ink, because that way though too, if you do want to color it down the road, markers will work well on these too, but you'll probably want to do your fine tip if you're going to go this small. So this is also what I like to use. This is actually very affordable, ultra fine point Sharpies. For some people, if they can't get good quality art pens, Sharpies are fantastic. They've always been around. They are permanent, which is fabulous. You can paint over them. And this one here, it says extra fine point. So this I would say would be comparable to the point. It's kind of like, maybe I would say 0.04, but see if you go really light, see how thin the lines can go, and I'm going on the side. So if you go straight down though, then you got the thicker, right? That's the Sharpie. The next, so there's a couple of different Sharpies, and I'm not really sure if they make a difference. This would be the pen, and this one here is a marker. So this is a pen, right? So, but it's got the same felt tip on it. So, but see how nice and fine that is? Can you see it? Very fine. Really nice. I like just making marks and doodling. If you can doodle for 20 minutes a day, I always try to make sure my lids are on nice and tight too. Now I have some other ones. Of course, everybody loves the Microns. The Sakura, they're a really good brand, and they're archival. So what that means is that it will not fade out. And archival, the difference between acid-free and archival is 100 years. Archival means that it can last up to 100 years before it'll start to break down. So when you see archival ink, then you're in a good place. So this is a 0.5 as well. I like the 0.5 because if I need to go really thin, I just go to the side of the pen. But if I need to go thicker, I just, but this 0.5, look at this 0.5 on the Sakura. That's on end on end. And then let's go with the, that's the Sharpie marker, which is about the same size of, so this is really loaded. This would be more of an alcohol base. This pen, I'm not sure if that's alcohol based or if it is more of an ink base, but that's the Sharpie pen. So you're not really a whole lot of difference, right? Really. They're all pretty consistent. So I just, these are the ones that I continually use because I have success with them. Another one I really like, well, actually, these are not too bad, but I thought that this one here comes with, this was a particular name brand, and it's got this really nice fat nib on it, right? So it's a soft nib, so it's kind of a cross between a brush and a soft marker tip. So this has got some really nice, right? And that's a marker. This one here is the, it doesn't have the name on it, but Kelly Makes. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Kelly Makes. You get you get this beautiful rollout where it's like a little travel bag and you get all these different types of markers with it. I don't have it here with me today, but it is something that I carry around. I have a bag that I carry with me everywhere I go. I leave it in the vehicle or I bring it in the house when I'm in, and it's got all my little drawing fun stuff. So this one here also is, this is Spectrum Noir. They're art liner. They're really well known for their art markers. And they've got good quality art markers. The ones that I had, though, I just didn't find that they stayed very long. This here is got to be a number 1. It's either a 0.8 or it's a 1. So it's fairly thick. Right? So that's a 0.5. I would say that that's a 1. Yeah. Nice and thick when you want to go to a thicker line. Okay. So that's that one. And also another favorite are the Tombos. A lot of people like the Tombos. These are called the Mono Drawing Pens. They are actually a water-based pigment ink marker. So pigments tend to take a little bit longer to dry. But once they're dry, they're permanent. So I find that pigment and inks are a little bit different. So this comes in a set of 3, and it's a 0.1, 0.3, and a 0.5. And I like to use these. I use these actually quite a bit because of the variety. And then it's just a set, right? So then, depending on what I want to do. So to just show you what that looks like, this is the 0.1. Really nice and fine. Right? And this is the 0.3. We'll go with the 0.3, right? So there's the 0.3. A little bit thicker, just slightly, and a little darker. And then we've got the 0.5. Darker again. So there's subtle differences, right? But as art marker, oopsie, there we go. As an art marker, you do sometimes want those subtle differences, depending on what it is that you're painting. So this here was done with this. I actually did a lot of these. I really like the boldness of it. And then when it was dry, I did some really fancy designs and whatnot, and then painted it, and it looks so good. I also have liquid inks and calligraphy inks. I have a lot of different inks. I love playing with inks. Anything water-based, anything liquidy, I just get all gibbly over. But look at how pretty they are. They almost look, I don't know, They just look so cool. This is actually a really good exercise. You can kind of get like an optical illusion going with this. And basically how you do this is you just start with a line. You don't worry about whether it's straight or not, but every line after that you follow the contour. So sometimes I'll deliberately make a little bump, but then the next line and the next line after that I'll follow. And so it's just a lot of fun. And it, like I said, when you're involved in these types of exercises, your brain waves actually go down to first to we're in high beta all day long. We're being pushed, pushed, pushed to do this, do that, do this, go crazy, do your homework, think, calculate, get to work, get up, all of that. That's high beta all day long. And some of us have a very hard time even unwinding. But even just 5 minutes of this, and you're already switching those brain waves down to an alpha level. It's beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Delta is like blackout. You're in deep, deep REM or deep, deep sleep. And theta is where true magic happens. They say manifestations. You can do a lot of creative thought and creative problem solving in that alpha, theta level. Some can do it even in the alpha level. The alpha is a very zen-y kind of a relaxing mode. When you sit, you put your feet up and you're laying out in the sun or you're just relaxing. That's where our brainwaves get down to that alpha level. And theta is actually really, that's the guts of our creativity, our spiritual side of our right brain. That's where a lot of great inventions come. So anyway, you've heard of Einstein and what was his name? The guy, um, Tesla. He used to Well, he was just brilliant anyway. I don't even think that guy even had to do any little creative exercises. His mind was just bizarre. He was a genius. But the guy who did the light bulb and whatnot, what they used to do is they actually have what they call their little creative naps, and they would lay down and just lay there, breathe, and do their problem solving while they were laying there. And that's where some of their greatest ideas came from. Okay, so would you like to know how to do it? Oh, this is what I did want to show you. This is what I started a little over a week ago. So you've heard about, so there's a couple different ways you can do a little exercise like this, is you just make dots, make about 11, 12 random dots. That's one way to do it. And then you just connect your dots either with round lines, you can do zagged, you could do whatever, but your pen has to run through every single one of those dots. I didn't do any dots. I just took my pen and I just kind of got into a flow and went around and ran around. And then when you're done, you just sit and you take your time and you do your little patterns. I keep them as just as straight a lines as possible. They they'll be slightly curved, but I don't do really super curved. Like I'll just kind of keep it very basic and try to keep a continuity to it too. So, and then it is sort of like a doodling. I'm sure that you could do this and then use all those Zen doodles and things like that for this. That would be a lot of fun. That would make for a very interesting piece of artwork as well. So I love the black and white. It's very dramatic as well. So why don't we, I'll show you exactly how to do this. So easy, so much fun. This is some 140-pound watercolor paper. Works really well. Now what I like to do is you could do it from the corner to the corner if you like. But what I like to do is I like to create a border. And why don't we just take these? These are my favorite ones. And let's just go to the 05. These are the Tombow drawing pen. And so what I like to do is I'll just come in here, right? And I'll just kind of make like almost like an inside border. So it gives me a framework. Right? So I got that little square. So now that we've got that little square, then you want to break up this. So we start out with just maybe making a line here. You can make as many as you want or as few as you want. I'll show you. Do a line here, and then let's do a line here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, that's it. And then what you do is you just begin. Right, so I'm actually going to switch to the 03. Okay, so let's go to a 03. I like doing the fine liner on this though. And then you just kind of do a slight bow to the line. But you don't have to do that all the way across, and then just switch and do it from here, right? You can do as many of these as you want. So, and as you get up, you can bow it some more, give it a little bit more of a dramatic bow. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll come over to this side, right? And I'm actually, that was pretty big, so maybe I'll come down and do another line there, right, like this, right? So, and just bring it and bring it right down there again, because that actually will give you these little valleys, these really nice little dark contrasting valleys, and I'll show you what I do there. They're all over you. It's really nice to have those little black little valleys there too. This one here got smudged, and I actually used it as a notepad. I've got notes on the back of this cellulose sponge. Yeah, so that was probably my little note for class. And this one was done with the extra fine. So anyway, let's go. So, and then you can go over here. I mean, you don't have to fill that all out just yet. You can, so you're setting the stage for all the other, see, and then I just bring it around. See how this kind of comes in here like this? It almost looks like a plant. It's sort of plant-like almost. And so then I can even come from here and then go over here. And then this one here, I can add a little more if I wanted to. And then here. And then here. I'll go from here. You could be as bendy as you want or as straight. So that's okay. I went over that line, so all I'm going to do is just, I mean, it's just an exercise, right? It's an exercise in creativity to, and while you're doing this, you can play a little bit of, 432 hertz background music. I listen to that a lot. It's a healing it's a healing frequency. It's one of the more natural. So the Schumann resonance, actually, I wouldn't recommend that right now because Earth is Schumann resonant apparently has been going off the scales. And that's because of all the Earth changes. Especially now, she's going, what the heck? And you know what? This is a big area here. I think I might even just take this and make another line like that. It's what I want to do. And you could do that at any point. This is your little drawing. So see how quick this is? And it's quite organic, actually. I think that's what I like about it. It has this really cool organic feel. And so this is even a little one. I'm going to come out. You could do it very slow and methodical, with a very fine line like I've done on some of these. Some of them were done very slowly, very thin. You see how close together these ones are? That was done with the 01. This was done with the 05 and colored in. So like even some of the bends, this is a lot of fun. This is going to be, so I've been playing with this now for on and off for a couple of weeks in between all my little creative projects. But, and it's just something, like I like to listen to a lot of podcasts, but I'm not always creating at home. But I'm one of those people that just always needs to have something to do. I can't just sit and watch something. I feel like I've always got to have something productive on the go. So this sort of thing is really, really good for me. And so here we go here. We'll just fill this in until it's done. So maybe we'll come up with this one here a little bit more, and then we'll come here. So see how this is closing in? Well, then we'll just take that there and and just color it in. See that? Doesn't that look good? It's almost like it gives it its own little shadow. It's like a value scale or a value study too. See there? Okay. If anybody knows the lady she's on YouTube somewhere, and I have not been able to find it so that I could give her kudos, but she had done this. I think she did 3 of them, but this one here is the one that I really resonated with, and I love this one. It might have been the line one, but that's one that you did in high school anyway. The one with the line, right? It's like the optical illusion. Let's do this. Okay, so then we've got a little triangle there. And we got one here. Let's just fill that in. Okay, kind of gives it like it's going way down deep. Okay, here we go. You want to bring this one out? Let's bring this one out. Yeah, like a roller coaster. And just bring that down. Bring it on down. A lot of times I'm doing this sort of thing. I'm listening to the podcast in the background, and I really absorb it. So the thing is what I was thinking I might do is, because this gets me into such a really good frame of mind, maybe I'll start learning a new language, and I'll play it in the background. Never thought about it. I just thought I've been doing this practice for years as like a little creative boost, right? Of course, somebody marketed on the doodling and has done very well on it. Matters not. That's that toothpick, toothpick syndrome. We all wanted to be the one that invented the toothpick, right? But who knows, where you can go with this or not. You just do it for just for the relaxation and pure enjoyment. Like I said, there's a lot you could do with this. And I've even made stamps out of mine. They're my original design. And I've actually got stamps made out of some of my shapes. So this is just to show you what can be done. So I don't get fussed about that. So a lot of times if I'm a little bit over even here a little bit, I'll just come in with the thicker edged pen, and I'll go around the border and make just a thicker border, right? So I'll do this because I don't like really big. I like them to be consistent. So I do have carpal tunnel and my hands do go numb. Unfortunately, I've had that for 30 some odd years. Came on during pregnancy and never went away. They say that for some women it goes away and for some it doesn't, and for me it didn't. I mean, it was really bad when I was pregnant. I couldn't even write for 5 minutes without the pain just shooting up. Now my hand just goes numb and I give it a shake. But this typically will happen if I'm in a fixed position. So there you go. I think maybe that was all of maybe 5 minutes or 8 minutes maybe at the max. So, and like I said, you can go around the edge with a thicker and you're all done. You're all said and done. So you can do it as big as you want. You could do it with, a brush, right? You could do it this way too. You could do a really big one. And then just use your imagination on how you either want to fill it in. You could paint it in. You could use pencil crayons. You could use watercolor. Inktense is a really fun little thing. That's the pencils are great because then you could just use your pencils and color like you do a pencil crayon, and then you just bring a brush over it and animate that. And then I make a nice little blend for shadows and things like that, just for just for visual interest. And it's not like this is a great work of art, but it sure looks it, right? Like every one is going to be individual. Every single one is going to be their own unique, one of a kind design. And I just love this. This one's the white. I just love that. It just has this kind of a really cool feel to it. Now, there's been some where I've actually gone in and I've done dots, right? Like if there's some big spots, let's see if this is, I got something here I can, right? Kind of come in and do some dots all along, or if you want, and make it really unique. And you can actually, when you're doing this, do it with the intent of leaving some nice big spots like this. And you could do all three, where you could do every other one could be gold or silver or whatever. Yeah. Right, so there's lots. I've got lots of opportunities here. So there you go. You can beef it up. That one only will fit one or two. Yeah. Right? Fun, huh? Okay, so I hope that helps you, and let me know how if this was a lot of fun for you as well as it was for me, and if there's anything else that you'd like to see me do, or if you have a question on. I probably pretty much have tried just about every um, medium out there. Um, and of course, that's how you do your exploration and you hone in on what you like, right? And what you're good at and what turns your crank. But it all turns my crank. All things art. I'm just enamored with the whole creative process, and it just never gets old. So I thank you for coming by and sharing a little bit of time with me, and I hope that you can make up a whole bunch of these through your quarantine time. And you want on the oh, you know what I did with these two is I did want to share this with you. A few years back, I had flew out west and drove back with my sister. She was moving back to Ontario, and everywhere we stopped, of course, I bring all of these with me, right? I have them all the time. I cut up papers. I have them in my purse. And whenever we stopped anywhere for a coffee or for a meal or whatever, I would sit and I would do either white, I had some black and I had white paper. I would do one of these and then I would write a little haiku or a little something on the back, and I would leave it on the table so that whoever was cleaning up the table, wherever we were, I did it all through the states, the northern states and parts of Canada. And that was really a lot of fun. And sometimes I do it here in my own city. I'll make these up and then I'll put little sayings on the back and I'll leave them on benches downtown. And if some people find them, if not, they get wet and go away, well, then that's fine too. The intent that I'm putting in these is for goodwill and to maybe hope to brighten somebody's day. So that's always a lot of fun, and you just kind of pay it out there, right? Some people paint rocks and put them out there for someone. I do these sorts of things. I'll give it a spray on some of them. The permanent ink, I don't bother. But something that might be a watercolor or whatever, I'll give it a spray before I put it out. So I hope that's giving you lots of incentive to do something. You can maybe do one of these up, and next time, go to your neighbor's porch and put one on their porch. Just say, "Hey, I'm thinking about you. I hope you're doing all right," and or even just do one, send it in the mail, whatever. Whatever you need or want to do with them. It's up to you. It's your imagination. Okay, this is Patty signing off till the next time.